Welcome back guys to another video, and what I've got for you today, as you can see behind me, is a Honda S2000, and I've been wanting to drive one of these for a very long time now. Honestly, it's been a good little while, and got offered this car by a viewer, so I thought yes, take the opportunity with both hands, and here we are today. So I've got the car for you guys to see, and it's such an epic car. So I hope you enjoy the video guys, and subscribe to our YouTube channel Performance Lifestyles. Check us out on Instagram performance_lifestyles, and we're on Facebook as well, Performance Lifestyles. And if you'd like your car featured, drop us an email, pflifestyle@hotmail.com, and I'll be more than happy to accommodate. So yeah, get in touch and we can sort something out. But for today, S2K in Bermuda blue, which is quite a popular color. So I hope you enjoy the video guys. We'll catch you outside the car. So here it is guys, Honda S2000. It's a late car, so it's 2009, and it's fitted with the splitter, which is a must-have on these things. The front end is quite bare otherwise, and the first thing you notice is look how long the actual front end is compared to the car. So the weight distribution on one of these is wicked. Front end is actually massive, so in comparison to where you sit, so you're all the way over here obviously, and that's all the way over there, so massive. This has got the 17-inch wheels. 18 wasn't a thing back in them days, which do look all right. And a popular sought-after modification, the rear spats, which I think they suit the car quite well, especially when the car's been lowered, they look even better. And then obviously you got the spoiler, which is all optional extras, stroke aftermarket sort of stuff. And yeah, I mean, just look at this thing. This thing is absolutely beautiful. It is such a stunning car, such a stunning car. I absolutely love these things. This F20C, I believe the engine is on these, 240 brake horsepower from a 2-litre NA naturally aspirated engine, and they've revved to 9,000 RPM, which I don't see many cars doing that in this, even up to today, but these have been doing it since 25 odd years, and it's such a joy. Honestly, it's such a beautiful car, and it's a different car as well. I think they're better to drive than a lot of the rivals, and I know the rivals were a bit more popular back in the days, but I mean, just the price difference in them cars nowadays just dictates as to what's been better long term. These cars are far, far superior than the rivals back in the Z4s, even the entry-level Porsches, Boxsters and stuff. These, I think, were way better to drive, way better to drive. So onto the back end, so you get the twin exhaust tailpipes, one on each side, which looks quite good. It's a bit of an oval sort of design, and then obviously the rear end is quite simple, just a Honda badge, no S2000 logos, nothing, and they actually look quite smart, I think. And then obviously your boot is there, which isn't very big at all. You could probably get a few bags of shopping in there, and that is about it. And that's just a tonneau cover, which fits on top of here just to cover your soft top when it's folded down. And so onto the inside. As with most things Japanese, they're very simple inside, very basic. There's not really a lot going on. And obviously you got your steering wheel with the Honda thing. These are the steering wheel controls, stereo controls, sorry. And obviously your push button start, which is actually quite a good feature. And then your heater controls here. So everything is very diddy inside, it's very tiny. And then the biggest thing is that, which I think is absolutely awesome, the digital display on these S2000s back in them days. This is the time, you know, before virtual cockpits and stuff. Look at that. That thing is awesome, absolutely awesome. And obviously your gear stick there, very short shift gearbox, functions for your roof, another storage thing here, heaters, mirrors and rear screen, demister, and obviously a hazard switch. And then they do have a bit of storage going on inside here, and then a secret storage thing, which up here. A lot of people didn't even know about that until after a few years of owning an S2000 back in them days. I mean, these have been around for a while now, so I'm sure everybody knows about them now. Back in them days, a lot of people didn't even know about the storage thing that was there. And used to see it on forums them days, and this is before the times of Facebook and stuff, you know, where everybody was an expert, where everybody is an expert, should I say. But it's just there. I suppose they need it because they're not very practical cars at all. So any little bit of storage you can find, chuck a box in there, chuck a cover on it, and that's exactly what Honda have done. So they are very usable cars as well, as long as you've not got more than 2 people, including yourself. So another person, you, perfect cars. The seats again, with it being a facelift car, it's got the no cutout in the headrest, and it's got the speakers here, so which was a option, I believe, and then a wind deflector just in the middle here. And the seats are actually very good. They're very, you know, hugging, they're very comfortable, they do the job just fine. So under the bonnet, this is the heart of the thing, the F20C, 240 brake horsepower just there, and just over 200 pounds-feet of torque. So torque is literally nowhere, but BHP from a 2-litre NA is fantastic. And this is the most common cheap mod that you could possibly do. Take the lid off the airbox and it gives you a bit of noise, because the standard filter is a cone filter, and it does the job just fine. Honestly, these things are so good. They're well made. Stick a turbo or a supercharger on one of these, you can see 450, 500 brake horsepower from without even opening the engine, which is a good thing, and especially in this day and age. And then they are a proper handful of a car. They're a rear-wheel drive, no traction control on a lot of them. This is a later car, so it comes with traction, but the earlier ones up until 2005, I believe, or 6 I think it was, had no traction control as well, so they were a bit of a handful. And yeah, this thing is absolutely awesome, and I can't wait to drive it. So what we'll do is we'll go for a little drive and then we'll conclude the video. So I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Performance Lifestyles. Check us out Instagram, Facebook, and if you'd like your car featured, drop us an email, pflifestyle@hotmail.com, and we'll be more than happy to accommodate. And yeah, like I said, I'm a big Honda fan, so I can't wait to drive this thing. Epic. These cars are absolutely epic. So we'll catch you on the drive. So onto the drive of a Honda S2000. Honestly, I know a lot of people ripped them, slated them for not having any torque, and they don't drive very, I think they drive fantastic. You do really have to wring the necks off to get them going, purely because they have quite literally, I think it's just over 200 Newton meters of torque, but they do have 240 brake horsepower, which from a 2-litre naturally aspirated engine is fantastic. To this day, there's still not many cars out there that have got that sort of power from an NA engine, and I think they drive great. The seating is perfectly fine. You sit very low in the car, even though this car is not lowered or nothing, it's completely standard, but you do sit fairly low in the car. The windscreen is tiny, and the wiper blades are literally about that big. It's the first time you see them actually working, it's quite funny, because they are like little dwarfs. They're very small, but I think the cars are very responsive as long as you're in the right gear. I mean, you can't be cruising around doing 30 miles an hour in 5th gear, put your foot down and expect it to do something, because it won't. This is where the torque plays a big part, and these cars don't have a lot of torque. But again, all you have to do is, VTECs in general were well renowned for dropping a gear. So if you want to put your foot down, literally drop a gear, put your foot down, and they will rev and all the way to 9,000 RPM. Now, there's not many cars out there that can say they can rev to 9,000 RPM without any issues at all. And with it being a Honda, the reliability is second to none. They will go on forever. As long as you keep on top of oil consumption and stuff, they will go on forever. So off the mark. That was to 8,500 RPM. These things just are great. Absolutely great. It could have carried on for a little bit longer, but I changed gear just before it got to the red line. And I've known these cars, should I say, when they've been played about with a little bit, they can rev to off the rev limiter on the actual clocks, which is mental. Absolutely mental. So when you're squared up against somebody, they're changing gear, and you could tell when they're changing gear because they drop off a little bit, but you just carry on going past them. And I bet every VTEC enthusiast or owner has experienced that at some point in their lives. That's where these cars excel. And obviously reliability, second to none. It's a Honda. The steering on these cars is also very good. They feel very poised and very focused. Some cars, they do, you know, they kind of like do slack on the steering side of things, but no, not a S2000. These things are great. You point them in the direction and they will go. this is one of the later cars, so it has traction control, but the earlier examples up until I think it was 2005 never actually even had traction control. So you got rear wheel drive, no traction, and all that power to the rear wheels. And honestly, if you do feel a bit adventurous and want to get the back end out, then yeah, these cars were known to do that quite often, hence why you see a lot of damage repaired S2000s. I mean, you don't see many about now, but back a few years ago there was quite a few damage repaired S2000s on the market, and that was purely because the back end is quite easy to get out on one of these, and they will step out on you, especially when you're higher up in the RPM range, and because the peak torque's at 7,500 RPM. Fun factor in these cars is very high. VTEC. Oh, these are fantastic cars. And I'm hitting quite a bit of traffic today. To use these cars as a daily, I think they're good. They're obviously not very spacious at all, but they're actually a very, very good car. You don't really have to make much of an effort, especially if you're not wringing its neck off. There's not a lot to do with them in the sense that you have to drive them in a certain way. You don't do anything, it's just jump in and drive. And they serve that, you know, purpose just fine. Especially if you've, like I said, if you're not after a practical car, they are ideal. The front end on these cars is massive, so when you're doing little maneuvers and stuff, you just have to be very careful. This is before the days of, I don't believe any S2000 came with parking sensors as standard. I believe people had them retrofitted afterwards, but again, the back end, there's not really a lot behind you, but there's quite a lot in front of you. So the weight distribution on these cars is perfect, and I believe that is the reason why they're like that. Epic. That noise is so addictive. I don't know if the microphone's picking it up, but that noise is so addictive. I bet the guy in front of me is thinking, what is this guy doing? What is this guy doing? Now, the most common modifications on these cars is to emphasize on that noise a little bit, is to fit an open air filter, K&N, short or long arm, whichever one it is, or any open cone filter does the job perfectly fine. But if you're on a bit of a budget and you don't want to be doing stuff like that, the most popular mod back in the days was you take the airbox lid off one of these and it automatically gives you 60–70% of the feel of an open air filter, which, because these have a cone filter as standard, so you get that noise and stuff, even though it doesn't make any difference to power, sensitivity through a throttle or anything, but it gives you the noise. And if you've got the roof off like today, it's a okay-ish day, you can hear that VTEC singing away in the background perfectly fine, and it sounds good. The gearbox on these, the throw on them is tiny. You don't, quite literally there, and you're in gear, down, in gear. There's no massive throws, and it's a very short sort of shift gearbox, and that's completely standard. I think it just goes with the whole Diddy impression of the car, and it adds to the style, driving experience. Because if you imagine one of these cars where you had a bit of a, plus I don't suppose there's any space in here for your arms to go if you had a bit of a longer throw, but yeah, I'm sure that wasn't the reason why Honda did that, but the throw is short, and especially when you bounce, or you're higher up in the rev range, you need something short, really short. Dump your clutch and then quick time, change gear, back out, and you're on, completely off on one. They've got an electric roof, which comes up in the matter of seconds. When I say seconds, I mean seconds. It's literally, you're talking 5 seconds, and then all you got to do is clip it in on the front and jobs are good. They've got xenon lights, air conditioning, and they've got some buttons on the driver's side over here just for your stereo controls. And now a lot of people, when they fit an aftermarket stereo, you lose the functionality of them buttons, but you can buy an adapter to actually make them work with an aftermarket stereo. And bearing in mind the standard stereo on one of these is going to be from, you know, the same stereo they used in the 2004s and 5s, the first of the facelift cars, and they will, yeah, they're a bit dated now, so you can't play your MP3s and stuff, USB and nothing like that at all. You literally have none of them features. But you don't buy an S2000 for that, I suppose. Take the roof off, put an induction kit or an airbox, take the lid off, and just listen to that VTEC sing at you, and it is so much better than that jargon that you hear, that rubbish that you hear on so-called music nowadays. So lower down the rev range, they do feel like they could do with a bit more of a kick, a bit of an oomph. And I know the AP2, which was a JDM only thing, and I know there's a lot of confusion with AP2s and AP1s. The AP2 officially, I believe, was the 2.2 car that was available in America and Japan. And now do correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, this car is just an AP1, but it's a facelift, which in this country, some people class it as an AP2, which it isn't, because the 2s were a 2.2. Now the 2.2s had more torque, same power figures, but just low down torque was available a lot quicker. But generally speaking, I mean, you do, like I said, you do have to floor them a bit just to get them going. But that's where the fun with all of these cars is. Anything, you know, the K20s are the same. You have to start dropping gears to get them going. And off the mark, they're fine. The moment the VTEC engages, these cars, I keep emphasizing on that, but these cars are so sick. They are epic. And this, just with the airbox lid removed, it still feels very throaty. You can hear, the moment you put your foot down, you can hear it sucking in the air and stuff, and it's good. You want to hear these noises. This car's from an era where them sort of things were a big thing. Right, so I hope you enjoyed that video, guys. Yeah, epic S2000, and like I mentioned on the video, if you're after one, get one, because they are just stunning. So yeah, like I mentioned, I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Performance Lifestyles. Check us out on Instagram, performance_lifestyles, and we're on Facebook as well, Performance Lifestyles. And if you'd like your car featured, drop us an email, pflifestyle@hotmail.com, and we will be more than happy to accommodate. But as per usual, guys, stay safe, and hopefully we will catch you on the next video.